Greetings, I'll explain the inner workings of the algorithm so we can get to the actual showcase of the software. Basically, the main algorithm is in parameter order. We build the tests by adding parameters slowly, one at a time. So we start with first two parameters and create small set of rows. These rows, all of the possible combinations get calculated, and of course we exclude the ones that are uh, excluded from the thanks to constraints. Then we slowly extend the list like one parameter at a time, and for each existing row we choose a new value for the new parameter that can cover as much as pairs as possible without violating the constraints, of course. And when we choose that value, we try to make sure that each row covers as many rows as possible, so no additional rows get added later on. And after that, we look for any pairs that we might have missed, and after that, we add a row for specifically those pairs that were missed. Adding parameters are pretty straightforward. Basically, you type in a name here, and to add values, you have two ways. Basically, you can add them one by one, or you can add them as a list, which is more comfortable if you already have a set prepared. And after adding them, you can of course edit them and remove them, add new values, new bundle of values, and that's how it works. For convenience, there's a feature to be able to view example set from the slides right away by pressing this button. After pressing it, we can go straight to displaying our table, and in this table the number of test cases are listed, and for each test case we are displaying unique pairs for the specific test cases. Naturally, the latest test cases will of course have fewer and fewer unique pairs. And for intuitiveness, I added a feature to make sure that if we are changing the placement of parameters due to algorithm's nature, the number of test cases will also deviate. For example, changing the positions will uh, increase the test number of test cases, not by much, but it just shows how algorithm uh, is really sensitive to the placement of parameters with various values. However, to make sure that the placement isn't a hindrance to the user, I made a button for optimize order, which will try to get the best placement for each parameter to get less test cases for each situation. Additionally, another feature called constraints was also added. Constraints help us create forbidden pairs. A forbidden pair means that for two parameters, two of their values will never make a unique pair. So it means that in this table, you won't see them in the same row at all. Therefore, changing the number of test cases either up or down. Let me demonstrate it. Basically, this constraint itself will increase the number of test cases. However, this constraint, for example, may increase or decrease the number of test cases, just like that. It became 16 because it removed the necessity of making pair for minimal and English.